July 30th, 2016 garden update. Everything's been growing good, but it's been very, very hot, which here in North Carolina, it's been 100 degrees for 2 weeks straight, pretty much now. Heat indexes of like 110, which is just crazy, but I'm kind of used to it, unfortunately. But I just finished harvesting a bunch of my peppers here. Tomatoes, ground cherries, figs. The figs are growing good. This is when they really start coming out, and the first big flush. You can see I got a little bag here. I've been just hand picking those after work every day and just munching them. But I'm going down to my parents, so I went and picked them a few. I've got two different fig trees. One's turkey, which I think is this one here. And I forgot the name of this one. It's like Celeste or something like that. It starts with a C. But I really like this one. I've kind of struggled with that tree because it doesn't take to pruning quite as well as the turkey. Brown turkey or whatever it's called. The brown turkey, I can hack that one back every year and it grows all kinds of new foliage. But that Celeste is more of a bushing. It like kind of sprouts from one center and sprawls out the side, and I think it just doesn't take as well to pruning, so I'm a couple years behind on that one compared to my other tree, but it's putting out a lot of fruit this year. I suppose that's just from a really good root mass already. The peppers have been kicking ass. The banana peppers, that's the orange ones. I like those. My banana peppers, I picked some young and put them in salads, but I like to let them go to completely orange and eat them like bell peppers. I think those are California Wonders or something like that, the bell peppers there. I got those from a neighbor in the back, which they did decent. They just had a little bit of bug issues, which my Del Toros last year didn't, so I think I'll do the Del Toros again this year. I just had issues with my seeds this year with the Del Toros, so I was lucky enough to have a neighbor that gave me some plants, which saved me a few weeks of trying to get transplants done again. And what's the other ones there? I'm having a brain fart. These dudes. It's the Mexican ones. You can do stuffing peppers, but those are doing good too. I did those last year and they did awesome, so I did them again this year. So I think again next year I'll go back to the Del Toros and the Poblanos. That's the word I'm looking for. The cherry tomatoes are doing good. I've been picking those like crazy. The new tomato bushes here have been the best location this year. I usually do them in my big bed over here, and I go from that side to this side, just back and forth each year, and do some rotation crops in between, like some, broccoli, collards, and kale, just to change it up a little bit. But the tomato plants over here got hit by blight pretty hard, and also the heat, I think, hits them a little bit harder, being that it's a raised bed. It's a 10-foot raised bed, so it loses moisture really quick. But these have done a lot better. You can see it's still loaded up. They've gone up and fallen back down, and it just keeps raining tomatoes. And I've got a bunch of new clusters up here, even some new ones forming up there. So I think the trimming of these lower leaves for that blight worked really well here. It worked out well on the others too, but just the watering became an issue with these 100-degree weather with the raised bed area. This one's in the ground, so it just did a little bit better with the moisture. This is my dwarf mulberry, which the voles got it last year and it fell to the ground completely. So there was no tree here last year in the fall time. And spring it sprouted and grew all of this growth in 1 year, which is amazing. So all that root mass, you can see the old trunk down there, I think, where the voles got it, and a new one came up and just went nuts. which its new growth pattern is really crazy because you can see it grew branches and stems all in one growth period. You can see all these little miniature stems coming off of each limb. Hey Chester, what you been doing? Huh? I had my sugar snaps here earlier in the season. I was kind of lazy. I finally got my Egyptian spinach in the ground, so that's starting to hardy up and get mature. So I think I'll have a big harvest of that here in another month. The container plants did good. I think this might be my last year doing the tree collards. I think they're better off up north, which down here in North Carolina, it's just too hot. You know, they get so bitter in the summertime. I mean, they're good for if you're just growing them for your chickens or something, because they are a hardy plant, and you can do transplants on the stems each year. I've got a couple of videos earlier on about how I did that. It's basically, I just took foot cuttings and stuck them in the ground, and they transplanted out here. You can see the tree collards over here. So I mean, it definitely works, but I just don't really like the taste of them in the summertime. I feed them to my chickens, love them. You know, if you wanted, I still might keep them to grow them for my chickens, but I like to use my area as well as I can to feed myself. But I mean, I take that back. I feed my chickens with all this stuff a lot too. The Swiss chard here is doing good. I put a little ground cherry here, and it just got eaten up by those little, I don't know what it's eaten up by. Probably little black flea beetles. So it hasn't done too much. I haven't done any spraying this year, so this is all just au natural. So I have had a decent amount of cabbage looper and the flea beetles on that location, which I could have sprayed, but I've really done a lazy gardening this year. The Malabar spinach is kicking butt. This was all just an experiment this year to see how well it grew and which locations grew the best. And it's looking like my trellises in this raised bed are the best location. So I think next year I'm gonna start switching these back and forth. So my hot season is gonna be tomato or next year I'll have tomatoes and Malabar on this side. So I'm gonna start switching my tomatoes back and forth. I was actually debating on not doing tomatoes next year in this bed because I have been doing them so long since this location worked so much better. So I might just do cherry tomatoes there one more year, do a rotation of like some collards in between. And maybe here I'll just do some cherry tomatoes in the corner. We'll see. That's just me talking. The big tomatoes just they do good in the early season, but the production falls down as the season gets hot. So this was my cherry tomato that was doing really good, but it just kind of petered out once I really pulled it back or trimmed it back from the light. But all these others, they've held their tomatoes well, and I've been harvesting them. You can still see there's some big tomatoes in here, which I'm just waiting for them to come due. Which I need to get my fall garden here start getting that in another couple weeks. I like to get a head start since my garden's a little shadier. But you see the Malabar spinach just intertwined with the tomato plants. But the pruning did good. This one plant just died completely. I don't know what happened to it. Its roots gave out. But everything grew well. This is the Egyptian spinach here starting to take off. So I'm gonna start harvesting that. The amaranth is going to seed, so I need to get that cut out. That's been more chicken food this year. They like it, so I've just been trimming a stem each day and throwing it in the chicken bin. The bush beans, they're doing good. I've been able to harvest a couple meals each week out of them. I was wanting to have all of these bush beans, but had squirrels get in here and dig them up. and I was lazy, so I didn't get them back in the ground. So I've been eating mainly just my tomatoes, peppers, what are the perpetual spinach, the Swiss chard, and the beans. So that's plenty to get my use out of the garden. The monster sunchokes are still doing good. The tomato plant here didn't do too well. I think it's just a combination of too much shade from the sunchokes, and also probably not as much water as I could have been giving it. So next year I'm gonna raise this bed about 4 inches, get some more soil in there to get more volume to grow more of the sunchokes. So next year this is just gonna be strictly sunchoke bed. Hey bud, it's hot out here. This location did pretty good for the Malabar spinach. I mean, it didn't do awesome. We'll see what I do there next year. I'm not sure. That was just a little bed. I had a teepee there that I transformed it into this, so I don't know. I might do some lettuces there or something next year. The Malabar, you can see it right here. It grew up. Got so heavy, broke the string, because it's probably just all the UV damage. It had a plastic string and it's falling back down, but I need to start harvesting some of that. But that's about it. Everything's growing good, even though it's been hot. I've been trying to get out here and give a little bit of water each day or every other day, but it's definitely the heat of the summer and the plants are struggling. I could take care of them a little bit better, but I don't want to. I'm too lazy, and the production I'm getting out of them without even touching them is good enough. Let's see. Oh yeah, I'm still getting some good clusters up there. So I need to pick some of these tomatoes. They're very ripe. I've been feeding a lot of these to my chickens too, and neighbors and friends. 2 tomato plants, trained them 5 stems, and this little area right here is really enough for a family. I grow more tomatoes with the big tomatoes just to have slicing for sandwiches and stuff, but I think next year I'm going to try to do hybrid big ones, like some Better Boys or whatever, some really hardy hybrids, and start focusing on some cherry tomatoes. I found some large cherry tomatoes and some, I definitely keep with the Sweet 100s here, but I'm going to start focusing with the cherry tomatoes since they grow so well in North Carolina in the hot summer, really all season here. So, and they're really good. They're really sweet and really good. The ground cherries were a success too. This is the first year I did the ground cherries, and I'm really surprised how much I'm getting off of one plant. It just keeps on producing. I imagine if I give a whole corner to an area, then have 6 plants, I could have tons of those ground cherries. What? Is it time to go? Alright. That's about it. Garden update. July 29th. Hot, hot, hot. Peace out.